press conference, and so at this time, the discussion and confirmation of the response plan for COVID-19. I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Royster.
Thank you, Ms. Levinas-Wells, and thanks to each of you for being here this afternoon. This is, I think we would all agree, really an unprecedented occurrence, certainly in recent history in our state and in our nation. There have been obviously other challenges, but this one is at this point unique. We've had health challenges in the past. We've had other challenges to our safety and security in recent years. So we have tried to act proactively throughout this process. However, we've tried to act at every point with, number one, keeping in mind the safety and health of our students, our employees, and our community, to be consistent with the recommendations of the Center for Disease Control and the State Department of Health and Environmental Control. In some cases, we have gone beyond their recommended actions. Some of those things I think you all readily will call to mind. For example, we've had employers in the Greenville community, because of the amount of international travel that they have amongst their employees, that they have imposed self-quarantines on employees. We have taken their self-quarantine and Ms. Fitzer's gone, so she's printing it, so you'll actually have a print copy. Some of you have your device, some don't, so you'll have a print copy.
Is it on board docs?
I doubt that.
No, it's not.
She was walking down there when I came in the door, so.
I'm going to ask any more questions for Dr. Royster while we're waiting. Does anyone have any other questions?
No.
Do you, Dr. Crystal Ball?
I'll refrain. Thank you.
You'll refrain? Mr.
I
Meek?
like a prediction, but I don't think he's
Oh,
gonna
well, I
help
don't
with
think
that.
he's,
No.
I don't think he's got that kind
If
of
I
power.
can't do it, he can't do it.
Microphone seems not to be working now.
Dr. Royster, just thinking way ahead.
See,
If we're
he
not,
did it.
if we're not back in school a couple of weeks, if the administration, if the legislature doesn't approve excuse in these days, are we giving thought to canceling spring break?
I would say that there, I would not say there's anything we wouldn't think about or consider. I think at this point, it would be unlikely that we would cancel spring break. I'm very concerned that we are not going to be completely out of this issue by the end of March. I think that's one concern. The other is, though we're putting it together pretty quickly, and nothing can take the place of being in the room with the teacher. I mean, nothing rises to that level. But I think we've got, as best we can devise it, a replacement for that for students learning at home, so they're technically in school. Now, I think there's some work to be done around that seeking the various permissions and that sort of thing. And it may be within the power of the governor having issued that emergency order that takes all that off the table. If not, I feel certain that Ms. Spearman will be making the appropriate recommendations to the General Assembly. But we have our e-learning plan approved by the State Department. We received that approval late last week. We just got to flesh it out. So our view is we're replacing those days with these days. And those teachers are working these days, so we would not anticipate or expect them to work additional days. So hopefully that wouldn't be a necessary thing, and we don't at this point have a plan to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chairman, I still have the floor.
Yes, sir.
On this resolution, I only have one suggestion. On the second line, I would prefer that it read March 31st, 2020, not just March 31st.
Can you repeat that one more time?
On the second point, where it says, whereas South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster has suspended all public school activity through at least March 31st, semicolon, I would rather that says March 31st, comma, 2020.
Okay,
I'd rather have it here on that too.
all right. Dr. Cristobal O'Connor?
Yes, I'm not sure why, Mr. Lewis, we would include seat time requirements in this,
I had the same.
because it seems as though our goal in what you set out to do was related specifically to testing requirements and the results of those and supporting the state superintendent's recommendation. But we have not had any discussion of seat time requirements and really don't have any idea what that's going to look like or anything. I just would think we should stick to what we originally said we would do unless there's a compelling reason to throw that in there.
Okay. Mr. Lewis?
It's my understanding that seat time requirements were mentioned in the superintendent's comments. So we were.
What did she say? I mean, I'm just saying, I don't have any idea what that means just by reading it, so I don't know if I would want to support it without
Okay.
knowing.
Dr. Ball O'Connor and Mr. Lewis, I'm going to ask that Dr. Royster give us his comments and reasoning for this.
I don't recall in the state superintendent's comments if she spoke specifically to that, but amongst the things I believe that she would have to waive, either by action of the state board or the legislature, to ensure that the days we're doing via e-learning are allowable as substitute, she may need to seek waiver from seat time requirements. And I believe she would have to do that based on the current regulations.
But that's a definitional issue, right? Because you would say that even though they're not sitting in school, they're still receiving instruction and therefore providing the seat time.
But they're not going to all be there. They're not going to all necessarily get 120 hours. There's too much. There are too many variables there that we don't have control over. And I believe that she will seek that. You certainly can remove it. I don't think it hurts your resolution, but Dr. McCrary recommended that's inclusion from state assessments and accreditation mandates. But the accreditation mandates, one of the biggest ones is this 120 hours for high school students. And,
Did you see how he was dressed?
I did, but still willing to take advice from him. Although I told him it would be better to have a Clemson hat on, not that Mississippi State hat. But but we don't, I don't believe that's greatly altered his thinking or recommendations.
Okay, all right. I actually like the Mississippi State hat, so I'll go along.
Okay, so let's go ahead and, so everyone has an understanding. Ms. Wells?
Yeah, so are we asking for flexibility or exemption? Is,
I thought it
in
was
her remarks,
suspend.
I thought it was to suspend,
Suspend.
suspend it
It
versus
was
flexibility would be, let us do it a little differently.
I think flexibility would, if you say to her flexibility, it reinforces her position. I don't know that you have to use her exact words.
But what are we saying?
The flexibility being we don't want to do them. I mean, that's, not we don't want to do them, it's counterproductive to do it.
Right, okay, so, but I thought she had asked, I thought she had actually used the word suspended or.
And she may have, again, we're kind of going on our recollection of what
Okay.
she said right before we walked in here.
Okay, so then like Mr. Meek, I guess just, I would suggest that in the first sentence, we actually say, in schools throughout South Carolina, and there, unless there's some specific reason, we just said the district. I would say we should be advocating that
Sure.
for the whole state, we believe it'd be wrong to hold kids to this accountability system across the state. So that would be my recommendation.
So throughout South Carolina.
Doesn't it imply that?
Okay, so it's in the second sentence of the first paragraph, second line, and it would, instead of, at the end of that sentence, it would have, instead of district, South Carolina. Whereas
Throughout the state.
communities and schools throughout South Carolina. Okay? Mr. Meek.
Just one question. Who's going to be receiving this resolution?
Mr. Meek, it would be our intent to transmit this resolution to the state superintendent, and that she might transmit or use it however she would wish. But we certainly, if you direct us to send it, wherever you direct us to send it, we will gladly do so. Probably would copy the delegation on what we send to her.
Mr. Chair, I'm
Just-
sorry.
Just a
Yeah,
minute.
that would be great. I think we should send it to as many people as we think. would be
Okay,
beneficial.
so superintendent and delegation. Okay. Dr. Cristobal.
Could we add consideration for South Carolina School Boards Association? All right.
Okay. Anyone else? Hearing none. All in favor of the resolution, please address by raising your right hand. All opposed, your right hand. The motion carries.
Thank you all. I think that's important to convey your feelings and your opinion and your expertise to the state superintendent in support of what she's doing, which I think is the right thing to do for students.
Thank you, Ms. Horton, Ms. Spitzer, and Mr. Lewis for the resolution. Thank you. At this time, Mrs. Goodwin, Ms. Michelle Caldwell Goodwin. Mrs. Michelle Goodwin Caldwell.
Yeah.
I just have a question, Dr. Royster, on
Yes,
the
sir.
email. It's talking about the breakfast and lunch, grab and go breakfast and lunch, but it didn't have a time. What are the times that these would be, that the fans would be
I
at
don't
these
know.
different sites? Huh?
Breakfast begins at 8, lunch begins at 11.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
It's on our website.
That's all, thank you.
Okay. So breakfast at 8 and lunch at, yes, sir, Mr. Salas.
Say,
Second, by Ms. Wells. Any questions? All in favor, please address by raising your right hand. All opposed, the motion carries. Thank you all for attending today, and I hope you have a nice evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Royster, for
Yes,
everything.
ma'am.
Very appreciative. Thanks for
Let me go
working your
fix this
schedule.